Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. We are in that time of year where it's hot, humid, rains, dries. It does it all here in South Florida, and that wreaks havoc on our homes, whether it be water damage, fire damage. The water doesn't get taken care of, turns into mold issues. Water Cleanup of Florida will make it easy for you. Again, with over 60 years of combined experience with Michael, Robert, and their team, with licensed contractors, with the availability 24/7, you will be in great hands. Believe me, they handled my home. They will handle yours. They will not only treat it with kid gloves, but they will be efficient, effective, and of the highest quality. Just give them a call, 954-579-0356, 954-579-0356. Check out their website, WCUFL.com. Also on the socials, active on the socials, doing their social thing. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. Our home is our castle. Our home is our sanctuary. Our home is where we... And when there are issues with the home, it just throws everything out of whack. Don't let those issues get to you. Call Water Cleanup of Florida. Reach them, 954-579-0356. Let them clean up your schmutz. Ethan Skolnick has sort of taken what has been sort of a disaster in the South Florida sports scene and made it not only a gold mine, but made it a much better situation thanks to 5 Reasons Sports. We're happy to be on 5 Reasons Sports almost every day. And we're happy to talk to Mr. 5 Reasons Sports, the CEO, the founder of 5 Reasons Sports. You can check him out on a lot of Heat action. Also, he found himself at Miami Dolphins training camp yesterday. So we talked to Ethan Skolnick about the Miami Dolphins as he was at camp, what he saw, and what it all means today on the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
The Defo Show here on South Florida Live and also carried on 5 Reasons Sports Network. Very proud to be affiliated with Scoop Skolnick's fine platform for a lot of different journalists here in town and people that are interested in sports and want to express an opinion. They do a great job. And what's great about it, too, is Scoop gets out there and works very hard himself, including a trip. Ethan Skolnick joining us here of 5 Reasons Sports Network. And, of course, he was one, according to Mike McDaniel, of 3 guys that might have done the trifecta of South Florida newspapers. Palm Beach Post, Sun Sentinel, and Miami Herald. 3 guys, is that right? I mean, it's like the distinction of being with the original Miami Heat, but with Eric Reed and I guess, like one other guy holds that distinction. Scoop, how are you, by the way?
Who are the other 2? Perkins, right?
Yeah, he threw Perk out
Perkins,
there.
yeah, and
Carlos Frias? Did Carlos Frias do it? He threw up Frias.
Oh, yeah. Carlos Frias was a sports writer. Now he's a food critic for the Herald.
Yeah, no, but Carlos was in Palm Beach. I don't remember Carlos in Sentinel, but I guess I'll take his word. I will say this, though, because I know, obviously, they're good friends. I can tell you that Kirk did not do what I did, which is that I did 2 of them twice. So actually,
wow. I love that. I love that so much.
I did Palm Beach twice, and I did the Herald twice. So yeah, that's. I'm not going back to the Sentinel. I can promise you that. Is there still a Sentinel? Oh, I don't want to say that because I'll get upset.
No, it's a pretty minuscule, feeble, the sports section. I mean, it's sad to see because it was such a brilliant sports section back in the day, and we were very lucky to have the Herald, and more so, I didn't really wasn't that big on the Palm Beach Post because it was out of my area, but I did get the Herald and the Sentinel every day, and it was great. I mean, you had valid, competing, and excellent, well-written and well-organized sports sections. It was really, really great. All right, we do have 5 Reasons Sports Network now, and of course, part of your thing there, Scoop, is covering everything local and doing it, to an extent that we never saw. Maybe in the newspaper with your coverage of the Heat and the Miami Dolphins especially. And, wow, I mean, so you're out there yesterday. I guess the big question is who's hot and who's not?
Already, after one day.
I love that. I really do.
Hot.
I mean, did you ever have to hit
exactly.
that, it's like a Barry Jackson
thing. Oh, yeah, I had
thing.
to do it.
Yeah?
No. That was a sign, Jeff. We would have to do that stuff. The who's hot, who's not camp reports. These days, if you actually publish any of that, you get shot on the spot because they don't they don't like you actually saying what's going on there. I don't really know why we're there actually because you can't tweet anything. You can't. You're not really allowed to say position battles or anything like that. It has gotten ridiculous. It's not just that, it's the whole league. But I'll say this. You don't really learn a whole lot. I feel like, I did this for so many years. I was at Jimmy Johnson's first camp when, they were, so many fans there, like, all the way back up and everything like that. Jimmy used to come out on his little orange box, because he was shorter than everybody else.
Yeah.
So he would stand out at the tower over us. And I was at Saban's first, and I was at Cam Cameron's first, may he rest in peace. And I was at Joe Philbin's first, and Adam Gase's first. I mean, there's a lot of firsts.
May he rest in peace, too. Joe Philbin. Yeah, while you're at it.
May he rest in peace.
Well, was he actually alive while coaching?
Yeah, that's the question.
The problem. He's never alive.
I'm not really sure. But I'll say this, and I was a Brian Flores first, but it was my opposite. I'll say this, okay? It's not really about the players in this camp, honestly. I think this is more about the coach. I just think the style of the coach is so different. I've never seen a coach be part of a selfie with the media like happened yesterday, which Omar kind of organized, but he actually did it. I'm trying to imagine another coach in South Florida sports history actually would have got on a knee and a selfie with the media before everything started. It is. I really think we're at the point. I think the fans are at this point where I think I want this guy to succeed. Like I feel like he's doing things so right. He's so different. Like especially because the Dolphins have been this annoying, closed organization and a failure for more than 20 years, right? So it's like they've had this. No matter who the coach has been, it was okay during Wannstedt, to be honest, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse with Saban and Toronto, and which was really for Parcells and everything. But they just kept losing, and so it's like, why are you even doing it this way? Why do you have such an antagonistic relationship with the media and the public, as compared to say the Heat, when the Heat win, and you don't, and so this is like a complete departure. Like this guy, he's legit fun. Like now how will he handle adversity? That's the question, right? I mean, because stuff's going to go bad. They have a very good roster this year, I think. So there are some expectations on him, but there are going to be things that don't go right, and then he's going to have to deal with this stuff. And will he change his attitude? But it's hard to really see how he does. I don't know. I actually, and you guys know, I mean, if you heard me at all, like my relationship with the Dolphins is kind of hot and cold because I just have a lot more respect for the way that the Heat do things. But I'm rooting for the guy, Jeff. Like I feel like this could show you could do it a different way.
Well, and Mike, that's my thing. And Defo sort of alluded to he's loose like Cam Cameron. But that's my thing. Is the first reaction, because we're jaded and we're down here and we've seen organizations try outside of the Heat to do different things and still end up with the same result. The first reaction would be hokey, right? Like, oh, this is hokey. But when you talk to people, they all say the same thing. This is who he is. Like, this isn't him trying to put on a show and trying to be different. Like, this dude just knows himself, embraces who he is, and the team seems to embrace him. And you're not wrong. Like, we've been very negative about the Dolphins. Even Defo and I are talking to John Conjemi, Mr. Finsider, saying, why are you negative, John? Like, we're all on board with this team. And I think a lot of it has to do with McDaniel's personality, the fact that he's confronting things head on, and he's smiling about it. He's not scolding all the time.
Well, there's a big difference between him and Cam Cameron, okay? The big difference is I would want to hang out with this guy.
That's what it feels like.
Okay,
yeah.
I would want to hang out with this guy. Like, this is like, I like, literally, like, I call the second tomorrow. Like, I would not do that with Cam Cameron. Cam Cameron, it was all forced. I mean, there's some great stories about Cam. Cam lost his team in, like, the first week, okay? I mean, he tried this rope trick in the back where you're supposed to be pulling the same direction, and it totally flew up in his face. There were all kinds of. He was checking. He had an issue with the number of shoes that were in Zach and Jason's lockers. It was just stupid stuff that was done. That just they like within the first week they were like, okay, no. I mean, as a coach, you either have to instill fear or respect or love. Like, there's got to be something there, right? And I Saban to a certain degree with some fear. Sperano, I think they really loved Tony. Like, he put on the fear thing. They really loved Tony. It's just that, things sort of went wrong after the first year. But this, Gase, I don't think they ever loved. Philbin, I still can't understand how he was picked, to be honest. I don't know how in a room that you say, okay, that guy's going to lead this group. This guy was like, okay, he looks like your IT guy, but like he's like your fun IT guy. So I still, I don't even know that existed. But I don't know. But here's the biggest thing, okay? You'll win over players if you know what you're talking about.
Yep.
That's the thing. And it's just this guy, when you hear about him talk football, it's not everybody's like, it's analytics just because he's smart. It's not all analytics. He's actually talking football. Okay, he's not just talking numbers and all that. He's not like Daryl Morey or Sam Hinkie or something like that, where he's not treating them as people. Everything yesterday was about them as people. When he talked about them, he was like, we're going to try to bring out the best of them in this way. We're going to go to fewer reps because the reps are going to be more intense because I want to preserve them. Okay. He was talking, he even said there were some days that some of these guys are just not going to have their energy. So other teammates have to pick them up. These are people things. So he's not just X's and O's, but then when you hear about him talk about X's and O's, you're like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like he has a different approach. Because football, unlike basketball, okay, where in the NBA there's a lot of progressive thinking. Okay, like we're going to try things this way, we're going to try things this way. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is a perfect example of that. Okay, in football, there's like no progressive thinking. It's all, and so this guy is totally different. And I give the Dolphins and Steve Ross a lot of credit for this hire because it is an unconventional hire. Okay, in a lot of different ways. But I just like I said, I just want the guy. I want it to work for him. And honestly, I want it to work for the quarterback too, because I do not understand, and I asked him the question yesterday because I asked two of the questions because, McDaniel said something that Flores never would have said, or any of these other coaches. He said, I want Tua to be less hard on himself.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, that is a specific, personal, connection type thing that like the other coaches never would have done. And I asked Tua about it. And he went into an answer which, indicated again that he's still going to be hard on himself because the standard he holds himself to. But I just think that this guy is giving everybody permission to be themselves, which I think because he's himself. And I really think it's genuine. Now, if they get off to an 0-3 start, and their schedule is kind of brutal, okay? If they get off to an 0-3 start, then everyone's going to be like, this guy's in over his head, all right? And then the adversity hits. But I don't know. I just have a feeling it's going to work this time. I think they've given him enough talent, and I just think he's going to approach it a different way. And I think some of the stuff he does is going to take other teams by surprise early on. And so I think they could be better than people are anticipating.
The great Ethan Skolnick with us here, 5 Reasons Sports Network. You'll see all of this dynamite coverage that they have there, video, audio, streaming. And they're at it 24 hours a day with a staff of thousands. You're like Schwarzkopf, man, rallying the troops into the desert there. Because, there are a zillion guys associated with 5 Reasons, including us. All right, and I don't know if this has been talked about enough because, we're trying to figure out McDaniel. Is this going to work? And I'm with you 1,000%. I thought it was brilliant what you said. Because I find myself, I'm wishing and hoping, like Dusty Springfield, that this works out this time. Because it seems like it would be nice to have a guy with a different approach that was really smart and knew how to relate to the players. And, things were uplifting. And, that's why I don't mind Tyreek Hill, being a guy that's out there singing the praises constantly of Tua. And Tua's such a nice kid. I mean, he leaves you with such a positive impression. He would be an easy guy to root for if he was having success. But, as opposed to picking guys up at a gas station and having a local UPS delivery guy stop in and try on some shoulder pads so he could block for the offensive line, they actually acquired guys through more conventional means. And it seems like, that would be perhaps, one of their biggest keys since, most people thought their defense was, pretty well connected, and that Tua, obviously can't be scrambling for his life, and maybe needed better targets if he was going to be successful. But he needs time, and that's what all quarterbacks need, and maybe gets it plus a running game.
Yeah, I like a lot of what they did there too. I mean, they needed an anchor tackle, and I know people are like, well, you need to protect his blind side. You just need for someone to protect him. I mean, and Armstead is a top 10 tackle in the league, and not only that though, he has a reputation for being a leader, which I think that room needs. There is talent in that room. Okay, those guys that they drafted, like they didn't overdraft all of them. Okay, they were projected to be roughly where they were picked. Exception maybe Austin Jackson, okay, but I still think he's salvageable in the right position. So, like, if this guy, Armstead, I think will help bring out the best of him. And I also like what they did with the collection of backs that they have. I mean, Myles Gaskin is not a number one, okay. Now you've got Edmonds, okay, and so now you got Mostert that gives you speed. They just have more options there, and they did a nice job with it. But the biggest thing they did is, again, I mean, you mentioned Tyreek Hill. They added a guy that is a top pass playmaker in the entire league. So you have to account for him. So that's going to make everybody else better. And then they also have a guy who I think Waddle. I think his yards per catch is going to go way up this year because a lot of it's going to be after the catch. But I just think that the attention that Hill is going to draw, and you have a guy in Waddle who is coming into his own anyway. And now, and they've got some other. I mean, Cedric Wilson's a good receiver. Mohamed Sanu, if he's still got anything left, okay, is pretty decent insurance policy. Their offense is probably the most talented. I was trying to think of, like, it's been a long time that they have this talent on offense. Like, right? I mean, you could even go back to the Marino days. Because they didn't have a hell of a lot of talent, during the Wannstedt and Jimmy years on that side. So. I think that there are a lot of ways they can go, and so it's ultimately all going to come back to the quarterback. And like you said, he's a nice guy. He's easy to root for. I do not understand why he's so polarizing. I've never seen anything like it for a guy who doesn't really have any trouble. Like I don't know why the national media has such a bug up his ass about him. It makes no sense to me. Like, okay, he's going to fail or he's going to succeed on his own merits. Okay, they've given him the tools now. It's his third season. He's over the hip injury. Let's see. Right, but people who've already made a conclusion on him, I don't understand how you could have. I don't get it. The first year he's coming off of that injury, he's thrown into that situation with a terrible roster. Okay, the second season, there were all kinds of offensive line issues and other things that he had to deal with. All right, so now they've given him personnel. So to me, this is a judgment year on Tua. It doesn't mean it's his last year in Miami, but this is the year that you say, okay, this is a guy who has a chance to be a top 10 quarterback with everything right, with things right around him, or this is a guy who doesn't, in which case we've got extra picks now, we're going to go find that guy. Like, it's not complicated, but I don't understand why he leads national talk shows. There's nothing about him
exactly
that would lend itself to that.
No,
right?
He's not controversial.
He's not I don't get it.
He's not LeBron.
Doesn't show up looking weird, like Aaron Rodgers, and you're thinking,
right.
Who is this, Nick Cage? I mean, what's going on here? No, it's going to be interesting. I'm with you, Scoop. I'm glad you're enthusiastic about this. I don't know if we're going to have our, expectations shattered or, be overwhelmingly surprised by negativity this year. But it certainly seems like if you had a team that stunk a couple of years ago and was doing its best deliberately to make sure that was a condition that persisted, to have this sort of level of optimism and reason to have, that faith that, things are going to get better. It's a pleasant change. It really is. So let's hope it lasts for a while, at least past the Hall of Fame game. Yeah.
Well, they won't. But Jeff, let me ask you this one thing. Have you remembered in your time here, all the teams came online, that at least 4 of the teams had this level of optimism? Because the Heat are the Heat. Well,
yeah.
There's one that doesn't, because I'm including the Hurricanes as one of
the Hurricanes.
Yeah. But
Los Marlins not looking good. Yeah. It's been a while. It really has. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ethan. A very exciting time here, and it's nice to see. Sports is cyclical in nature, and you're going to have teams that, are good for a little while, and then maybe they fall off and, fall into mediocrity, which is the worst possible thing because you're better off being really bad. And, it's an exciting time. Somebody's got, has to deliver pretty soon, I would think. And, you mentioned the Hurricanes, are drawing raves. I don't know how much money this, what is it, Ruiz, this cat? Whatever he's spending, it's probably a bigger budget than the Lakers, when they're paying the luxury tax, the budget that the Canes have this year for football. Scoop, a pleasure. I know you have to run. How hot was it out there just by normal opening day of training camp, circumstances?
Well, without I'm losing you, Jeff, but without the fans, different. But media-wise, we had a full crew in the selfie, so yeah, it was pretty busy that way.
All right, sounds good. All right, thanks, Scoop. Thanks so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure.
So, as you all know here on 5 Reasons, if you paid attention to anything, Ethan Skolnick has covered South Florida sports as a whole for a long time. He's worked with the Sun Sentinel. He's worked with the Miami Herald. He's worked with the Palm Beach Post. He's been on that vaunted Dolphins beat. He's covered the Panthers, covered the Marlins, and with the Miami Heat, covered them a long time, plus went national talking about Miami Heat and talking NBA, but he knows his sports, right? That's why he's built what, to me, is the home of South Florida sports, the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Again, we're proud to be here. He is a guy who's been around a lot of losing and some winning. He is tough on the Heat, but he also regales them because they deserve it. They are one of the top, not organizations in basketball, but one of the organizations in America's sports, organizations in sports worldwide, to be brutally honest, okay? People around the world have been around the world. They see the Miami Heat. They know who they are. That's not automatic with all American sports franchises, okay? So Ethan, much like Defo and myself, being in South Florida a long time, will have a cynical eye, especially to the Dolphins over the last 20 or so years. Now, it's the same regime in a sense, but this new coaching staff, this new manner brought by Mike McDaniel specifically, has gotten people like me, even Defo, excited. And it's interesting to see that it's gotten Ethan Scoop Skolnick excited because the guy, he's not gruff. He's not tough like Flores. He's not bitter like Flores. But when you talk about X's and O's, and that Flores never had no clue with offense, but was great defensively. You saw the Dolphins defense with not a lot of talent a couple years ago became one of the better defenses. And last year with talent and his X's and O's in the second half of the season was a top 5 defense in football. Well, Mike McDaniel, when he talks football overall, especially offense, he brings that X's and O's, not only charm, but brilliance. Like anyone you talk to about Mike McDaniel sings praises. People who were rivals, people who worked with him, players, execs, coaches, people in the media. The dude knows his stuff. So, like I said, it's not only fun and different, but like Scoop said, Ethan said, when it comes to football, when you talk football with Mike McDaniel or hear him talking football, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. So it's given us a lot of excitement. Plus, the Dolphins have now invested in talent, actual talent, giving their young top 5 overall pick quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa a lot of help for the first time since he's been in Miami. It's the most help the Dolphins have had offensively against since Marino. Because even when you had Ricky Williams, the rest of the team offense wasn't great. And it's prime Marino, like Marino late 80s when you had Clayton, Duper. They still had some remnants of a running game. No, they haven't had offensive talent since then. They just haven't. And they do now. And they have an offensive-minded guy who is a guru, who kept the defensive coordinator. Yeah, Flores had a lot to do with that defense, but still kept the defensive coordinator, kept pretty much the entire defense intact, and added Melvin Ingram, one of the better edge guys in the game. For our first time in a long time, there's a lot of valid reason, substantial reason to be excited with the Miami Dolphins and for the Miami Dolphins. And Ethan Skolnick, the guy who is cynical because he's been around this organization, even he is sort of rooting for the team, rooting for Mike McDaniel to be successful because he's a guy that he'd be fun to cover, fun to watch, and hopefully bring some excitement back to South Florida football. Each and every day, we do that in the mornings. We give you, hopefully, some excitement, some fun, some laughter on South Florida Live, the Defo Show with Lubie, 7 to 9. Check us out live on South Florida Live. YouTube channel, YouTube network. Also, just Google or look us up on Facebook at SoFly Live. Also on the socials, Twitter and Instagram at SoFly Live, South Florida Live. We also do a national podcast on the Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. And most days right here, our South Florida content, your home of South Florida sports, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.